wrote a song called Grace.
Yes.
About your sister.
Yeah.
What made you want to do that?
I was just thinking about all the times I ruined her birthday. She's my younger sister, but she has always essentially been the older sister. You know, she was... It was like we were split and she was born with all the things that I just didn't have. You know, I was always the scared one. She never was afraid of ghosts or vampires or like monsters under the bed. And I was terrified. I was always going to her room when we were little, being like, there's something under my bed, I'm terrified, like there's definitely... Like I just thought everything was real. I didn't have... She's much more like based in reality than I am. She just is like, no, well, A leads to B. And I'm like, no, but A leads to like the end of the world. And like, I don't have any kind of, you know, you don't write a song called Hurricane Drunk on your first record without there being stuff going on there, if you can imagine. So there was some regret there about not having been a big sister. You know, I think when I kind of came to a bit after all those years, I think one of the things I said to her was like, I want to try and be a big sister to you, and I'm sorry that I felt like I couldn't. And now she has a baby, and I think I've spent the last couple of years just trying to be there for her in a different way, and to kind of finally try and be a big sister, not this... I mean, she was my PA for a second when I was probably at like peak mad. She was my PA for like a minute until we discovered that like she was so frustrated with me that she would like actively be trying to like make my life harder because I was being such a dick. I was like, Grace, you're a PA, you're not supposed to be making this more difficult. She was like, well, you're just a nightmare. So that did not work. But I feel like, you know, that this song was a way... It's so British as well. She was like, why did you have to... You could just tell me you love me. You don't have to put it in an enormous pop song.
Whereas anyone else would be like, woo, I'm on this song.
No, she was like, oh, God's sake. Because we communicate in jokes.
Very British.
Yeah,
yes.
we communicate in humour. You know, I don't know what I would have done without my sister. You know, she really saved my life, I think, more times than I can count.
Yeah. It feels like you feel things. You feel things in such an extreme way. Things really affect you, which is why you're so good on stage, because you can feel the energy of people and you can feed off that.
Yeah, it's funny that thing...
Porous, that's the word.
Yeah, porous, being very porous. I think it means that you're always hyper-vigilant. It can be really exhausting, I think. Often, like, if you're sensitive like that, I think you can sometimes struggle with things like alcohol and stuff, because you just want to... It's like almost a way to be like, okay, it's off. And it's like, I've numbed it out. It's fine. I have a shield now. Yeah. But it kind of makes it worse eventually. But I was always like that, like always a really sensitive kid. But it also means I kind of never have lost this kind of wonderment thing. It can be a lot. But weirdly, like the big stuff, like a big gig or lots of people, I almost know how to deal with that. I know how to kind of contain like the energy of a whole big room. But I find like with one-on-ones or like a couple of people, it's terrifying. Too much. But loads of people in front, and with music, it becomes like a magic trick almost. So that thing that makes your everyday life sometimes difficult, if you can use it on stage. But I think meditation really helps, and figuring out that I'm someone who perhaps isn't as social as they thought they were, but that's okay. And I need a lot of like reading time. I need to draw. I need to make things. And because I definitely wasn't one of those people who got into music just for the music. I wasn't. I was like, I want to go to all the parties. Like, I definitely was up for it. Yeah. But I think what was nice is when that fell away, I was like, oh, I love making music so much. You know, when my second album, I was at every award ceremony, every party, like fully dressed up in couture, just like, I'm here, I'll do everything. And then I think, you know, kind of coming away from that and realizing that perhaps it doesn't make you that happy. Yeah. You know, this urge to create stuff, I'm compelled to do it. And I was like, oh, is that how you like become like a legend? You know, like, do I need to drink more? But it's so painful. You know? I was very confused, but what I found is that it didn't have to be that way, you know, and that the creativity was the thing that was the most hallucinatory, intoxicating, kind of thrilling thing that I could be doing with myself. And what I also found is that the self-destructive side of me, which is there and it's massive, if harnessed right, if harnessed in a studio situation, if harnessed on the stage, could be this ally that could make the performances more ferocious. And so I found that things kind of almost became like heavier and darker, but in a good way. Like some of that fury that would always end up being directed at myself if used in the wrong way, that sort of chaotic and self-destructive side, if I could just take it to the stage or take it into the studio, it's like kind of taking the demon, and instead of trying to fight it out in your own house, you become one, and then it's quite powerful then.
Wow. The Sky Full of Songs that people can hear now, I love the imagery of you being so into your performance, you know, outward and open and kind of raw and possessed by your performance, that you're nearly flying away. And like the idea of someone kind of holding onto your ankle to keep you down and be like, no, you got to stay on the ground a bit. Stay with us. I'm obsessed with that image. Do you feel like now, with the benefit of hindsight and the space you've had to look back, that you can be more grounded in that way in your performances?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting playing this one. When you're on tour and you're in that state, you just want someone to physically like stand on you almost, be like, okay, you can come down now, like it's time. But it's such a privilege and a gift to be able to do what I do and to play those gigs. But like sometimes when you kind of come back to that room and you're on your own, it can be quite a lonely place.
Yeah. Can I ask about Hunger? Obviously, it's the second song that we've heard from the album, but why did you want to put this out now before the rest?
It's weird because I never thought that this song would be a song. You know, it just was a poem I was writing to myself about the ways that I think that I've perhaps looked for love in things that weren't love. The last record was about a broken heart. And so in that, I thought that if I could have this person, it would fix everything. You know, you're like,
of course,
it's you, it's definitely you. And
you're the answer.
And you're the answer. And why don't you want to fix this? Because it will be fixed. It will be fine if you just, why aren't you interested in doing it? You know, like you kind of, and I think with this record, it was a recognition of, oh, it's me. It's like, oh, okay, I get it. I'm the only continuity within all of this. So this song was kind of about what is it that we're actually looking for, and I quite like the idea of putting like a big, probably unanswerable spiritual question in a pop song, because it might not be able to be answered, but we can dance about it. But it's strange. I never thought I would release it, and I was playing it to people, and I was like, yeah, but this one's probably not going to go on the record because, you know, it's too personal or it's too real, and people are like, are you sure? I think at the core of this record is perhaps looking to connect and perhaps encourage connection in others in some way. And I feel by making myself vulnerable or saying things that I never thought I'd say out loud, perhaps I can encourage people to feel like, I don't know if people have felt the same way I have or something, you know, that strange, like, lingering loneliness you have from when you're a little kid. But the funny thing about that is usually when you say that to somebody, they go, yeah, me too, you know. So this song is about pain, but it's also a celebration of how much I see young people kind of changing things, you know, like, no, I want to look this way, or like I want to be, and I think that there's so many new kinds of role models out there than from when I was a teenager, you know. And I think people, especially young people, they're just so switched on and engaged, and, you know, I know perhaps like social media has its issues, but you know, when I was a teenager, we didn't really have a way to connect and to like
and talk to each other
and
in that
talk to
way,
each
yeah.
other. And I find
Yeah.
I find it really inspiring. Like, I think I see these like young women going out and they're so kind of smart and like capable and like comfortable in themselves. And I don't know, maybe when I was younger, maybe it was just for me, I was really lost when I was a teenager. You know, I was really confused and sad. So I feel really inspired by the young women I see today.
I think also though that song, I mean, when you hear it, it's really hard hitting. The lyrics are stark.
I think what I was trying to express is like, there's just this feeling sometimes that you're not good enough, and like you have to be perfect, and how can you get love, and how will you be acceptable, and what is the right way to be? Because I think underneath like a heartbreak record, this isn't it was weird because I'd made that, but perhaps there's a bigger heartbreak underneath. Do you know, you kind of get to when you kind of realize that it's not always about all the relationships in your life or the guys and romantic, you're like, oh, there's like a bigger heartbreak underneath, which is perhaps that you didn't love yourself, you know, and the ways that you hurt yourself because of that lack of self-love. And I think that song is kind of about that, but it also is that songs are weirdly protective as well. I always feel like if I put something in a song, it's safe. So I'm like, okay, it can live in this song. And I was definitely like, I should not be saying this stuff, but that's probably why you should. You know, there's definitely a thing that goes, you will get into trouble for doing this, which is maybe part of the problem. You know, I was like,
it shouldn't be taboo.
Yeah, they're like, you will be told off, or you should be ashamed or something. And I think perhaps this is why this is happening. You know?
What would you say to your 17-year-old self now?
Put that drink down, eat a sandwich, you know, like,
get your foot fixed.
Yeah, like, what would I say? I don't know. Like, I kind of want to give myself a hug.